Hello guys, and welcome to my first little Let's Play, I guess. I suppose. Well, it's more of an introduction to the new systems in Kerbal Space Program version 0.22. Yes, it's finally here. They announced it a day before, for the first time ever. Squad has actually given us a release date, and they delivered, which is cool, but I mean, they only announced it the day before. Anyways, in this version, they've made a bunch of tweaks as usual. They have added a new system, the science system. They have updated some parts. They haven't added too many new parts, just things relevant to their new system. And that's about it. Oh yes, they overhauled the SAS, which is awesome. I love it now. It's exactly what I always expected it to be. And I think that's about it. I've yet to review the patch notes, but I'm pretty sure from what I've been playing, that's what I have noticed. So let's go ahead and dive in. Since there is the science system now, the career is actually available. See here? So why don't we... Well, we could start it. Yeah, I'll show you the new game. I'll show you the very opening bit. So the first thing you'll see, it's a standard layout, except we have this massive science center now, and it really is beautiful. I mean, take a look at that. They got a sweet bridge. Looks like an observatory. Bunch of nifty looking buildings. And then, of course, there's your astronaut training center, your horizontal takeoff hangar, your VAB, and your tracking station. So, yeah, let's look at the science center first. So this is the screen that you'll get once you open up your science center for the first time. And this is actually the beginning of a tech tree. So obviously here at the start, you can see, and it's the technology that they started out with. They have the Mark 1 command module. Sorry, trying to read and talk at the same time. You got your LVT-30 liquid fuel engine, a RT-10 solid fuel booster, a fuel tank, the small girder, a communications antenna, and the parachute, which I have yet to see this parachute in this screen. I don't know what it is. It's a little minor bug or something, but something funny. So obviously this is the first piece, the first science that we will research, I suppose. First technology, and then it's basic rocketry, as you can see. And they give you a couple more fuel tanks, a mystery goo containment unit, which I'll get to in a minute, and a stack decoupler, which we all know and love. One thing that I really figured out as soon as I started playing this is how much I love stack decouplers. They're amazing, and I don't know what I would do without them. We would definitely not get nowhere in the solar system, maybe orbit. I don't know, I'm a pretty horrible player though. So let's go ahead and launch our first rocket, and I'll show you a little bit of how we collect science, and we just need to get 5 science. It's funny to speak of science in units like that, but obviously we start out with 0. So we'll just build a simple rocket right now. Just trying to get into space. Throw our command module, some fuel tanks. One more. And then a rocket engine. And we'll load this up with some solid boosters. That's pretty simple. set up our staging, just so we're not burning everything. Well, actually it doesn't really matter. The only thing that's going to... I'm going to put all these down here in the first stage just because I don't want my parachute going off. Because you definitely need a parachute if you want to get back to Kerbin. Whoops. I'll throw some parachutes on here too, just in case. I haven't fully tested the way that the physics are working. They were doing really well before. I mean, minus the bits where you are time accelerating, but from what I've seen, even the time acceleration is doing quite well. I still have issues with my parachutes falling off sometimes when the chute's open, if I'm time accelerating, but other than that, it's been doing great. So yeah, this looks good for a first rocket. I obviously put on the antenna. These antennas now, and there are some communication dishes and stuff like that later on. They're used to transmit data back to Kerbin without actually landing. The only real issue with it is that you lose a lot of data in the process of transmitting it. So I'll show you how they work, but honestly I haven't used any yet in my actual save, my career save. But I'm sure once I start getting satellites, I just got the research for satellites, or automated, I suppose, systems. So I'm probably going to start using those quite soon. So let's save our untitled spacecraft and launch it. Alright, so everything looks pretty normal. We will turn on SAS and fire the solid boosters. Now, the thing that they've done with SAS is they have adjusted it so that while you are inputting with your keyboard while you're adding input, the SAS will adjust its I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember the word. It'll adjust its direction. That's what I'm looking for. So, see how I'm obviously pointing straight up and firing my rocket. If I click the D key and move, you'll see how it turns orange and it gives that little roundabout icon. Well, that's it saying, okay, I'm taking your input and I'm adjusting. So now the SAS is slightly, the direction is slightly tilted. So this is awesome. I never expected SAS to do this. I don't know how it is in real spacecraft, but that's amazing, because now you don't have to be unclicking and turning back on SAS all the time just to get the right vector. You can just turn your nav ball and make sure everything's adjusted right where you want it. Let's just try not to get a completely ridiculous orbit. I'm sure it still is. Yep. I could have went a lot farther, but this will definitely be enough to show how we collect science. Oh, you know, I might not be able to transmit back, so we might have to do another one to show that. Anyways, so my main method of gathering science is through the crew reports. See how it's it'll tell you while in space near Kerbin, and it'll give you a little brief synopsis of their crew report. Oh, we're in space now. The sky seems mostly below us. And then right here is your data size. That's like however megabytes, gigabytes, whatever. They have it in a unit called MITs, and for each unit you want to send back, it's going to cost you so much energy. through these antennas. And these antennas are not efficient. They are extremely power hungry. So you really do have to be careful about that, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I obviously have 5 scientific value. You can either keep your data and have it written down if you plan to return your craft, or you can transmit the data, and this percentage will give you your ratio as to how much you get back. So I'll try and send this. I don't think I'll be able to, but we'll see. And you can see up here it's starting the transmission. It has uploaded the data, and that little 5 MITs has used up almost, yeah, probably like 30 of my electric charge. So it's very data hungry stuff. But I mean, if you have a satellite, you really have no other ability. And now you see how I've sent that data back. The scientific value has gone down drastically. It's now only at 1.9, which is just, I mean, which makes sense. Once you've already collected the data once, the second time around, it's not nearly as valuable. Anyways, I'll keep that. And then the second method that you can collect data in these early stages before you get that next science, the next tech, is you can EVA, and while you EVA, you can generate a report. And so you record your observations about the situation, and as you can see, scientific value of 8. It's quite a valuable piece. But see here how it has a 50% transmit value. So you will lose half of that value sending it back to Kerbal through the transmission system. So you can keep the data if you plan to return, and then reboard. And looks like I'm right at apoapsis. We will just time accelerate until we get back into the atmosphere. I can turn off SAS. I don't think that'll be very necessary. And we will land this bit. And once I get down in the water, you will be able to... They've added a nice little button. I can't show you yet, but once we're in the water, I'll show you, where you can recover your vehicles right away. You don't have to go back to the tracking station anymore, which is awesome. That saves a lot of time, and it just reduces one step, you know. It's a nice little thing. So once you do recover that ship, you will get little science bonuses because of it. Once you recover your ship, you'll get an extra science bonus for recovering that ship, and then you will get a little I forgot, I read something. He specific, the lead developer Felipe's called it something specific, but it's basically just a little window that'll give you information as to all the science you collected throughout the mission, and give you a tally, basically. So it's neat stuff. The one thing I really like about this version 0.22 is that this science system gives a lot of people that might have been turned off about Kerbal Space Program because of its just open, I guess, directionless nature, just sandbox nature, as it was just the sandbox before, is that a lot of people that do need a little bit of direction, or need something to work towards, I suppose, which I can understand, actually have a system now in place with the science system so that they can build up. And not only that, but the science system helps you introduce you to parts you might not have used before, and also gets you more familiar with each part as you unlock it. So as soon as this lands, let's accelerate a little bit. We can show you the nice little button that they've added. It kind of toggles like the abort button, but this whole bit will drop down. So here you go. Recover vessel. That is great. I love whoever put that one in. And it will take you back to the Space Center and give you a little readout of exactly what you've gathered. So your science summary for the untitled spacecraft. You got 5 data gathered at a value of 0.4 for 1.9. That's for a crew report while in space near Kerbin. And then you have your EVA report over Kerbin's water. That's 8 science. Your recovery of the vessel. So you only gather 1 data, but it's very valuable data. It nets you 8 science. And obviously these are just simple multiplication. So altogether I net 22 science. Or no. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm not entirely sure about this, but I have 22 science. I'm pretty sure I started out with 0. I don't believe you start with any science. So oh yes, because of my transmitted data. That's what it is. This is the crew report I generated after I transmitted the data, and then this is what I earned on the mission, and then there's another 4.1 science that I generated while transmitting the first crew report back. So we can unlock this first bit, and I think I even get another one. And here you see the tree is starting to grow. So you'll have survivability, and you'll get a little bit of a more economical engine, some landing struts, radial parachutes, or stability. You get aerodynamic nose cones and winglets and stuff like that. I do believe the nose cones actually do something now. I think they what was it? I can't remember exactly what they do. I believe that they are shoot. I don't want to give wrong information. I'm gonna say that they increase stability, but they do not decrease drag yet, which is kind of a bummer, but still it's something. I mean, if you really want incredible aerodynamics, there is a mod for it. I can't remember the name of it though, because I never use it. I am horrible at Kerbal Space Program as it is, so mods that make it harder are just not for me. Anyways, you also have your general rocketry. You get another engine, a little solid booster, and a large solid booster. And I have 17 science, so I can pick up survivability, and I'll show you that just so you can see. Tech trees, the parts of the tech tree will require more than one previous technology prerequisite, I suppose. So like for this one, I would need to research stability before I can actually research flight control and get all these nifty things like the Sputnik Mark 1. But then there are also bits, I mean, obviously. This is a science module that allows you to research materials, I suppose, in space. It's another form of generating science, but it looks really awesome. I love the look of it once it opens up. Okay, so since this video is getting on about 20 minutes now, I'm going to cut it here, and in another video coming up soon, I will show you my other save that has a little more technology unlocked. We'll take some scientific instruments and go to the moon with them. Thanks for watching, guys.